In the spotlight tonight, protocol. U.S. officials say that Osama bin Laden's body was washed in accordance with Islamic custom, placed in a white sheet, and then inside a weighted bag, read religious rites, tipped up, and then, quote, eased into the sea. Photos of that moment, as well as photos of bin Laden's body at a hangar in Afghanistan with a massive open head wound, are being held by the White House as officials deliberate whether to release them. Joining me now is Steve Clemons, a senior fellow at the New America Foundation, a progressive think tank. Steve, thanks for joining us tonight. Take us inside what you think the dimensions of that debate are in the White House about these photographs, the pros and cons of releasing a photograph like this.
Well, I think very simply, I think the con is that they're worried, just as they were in creating some tangible rallying point if bin Laden had been buried at some site, for retaliatory acts for those that were taken into some frenzy over his martyrdom, that they've been trying to create a light and almost vanishing footprint of bin Laden to try to keep this from animating terrorism around the world. I think the other side of this is America is a transparent nation. When Nicolae Ceausescu was killed, the people needed to have closure and see his picture. When Saddam Hussein was hanged, the people needed to see his picture. And I think that at some level, they need to release the bin Laden video. What I've told the White House today is they need to accompany that photo with a very clear photo of his body receiving the Islamic rites. That hasn't been discussed yet, but they need to release these two photos simultaneously.
Well, tell us your point about the photo about receiving the Islamic rites.
Well, I was speaking today to senior executives at both Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya, and I asked them how do they feel about these photos being released, because the tone of the coverage about bin Laden's death on the Arab networks has been more sober and more somber than what you've seen on the TV networks. And I said, what's missing on your end? What are you worried about? And what they're worried about is that ultimately they think Muslims, I don't want to generalize, but conspiracy theories do well often in the Muslim world. And I think they feel they need to be able to show that this Muslim, as provocative and controversial as he was, as sort of the rock star of transnational terrorism, nonetheless, as a Muslim, received these rights. They tell me that they need to be able to show those images in the Arabic world as a palliative, as something to help calm people. And I think that makes sense.
But in a culture that you say is so susceptible to conspiracy theory, what credibility would the United States have in releasing a photo of the Islamic rites? Why would anyone believe that's a real photo? The people who would be doubting this, what about an American military-issued photograph would have credibility?
Well, I want to be careful. I don't think that the culture is prone to conspiracies, but I do think conspiracies are part of the currency of that region. I think that the issue here is we've said he received those rights. There needs to be a photo. There could be many who won't believe that because they're just prone not to. But we need to be able to give evidence that, in fact, he was dealt with respectfully as he moved to the, off this earth or into the ocean or whatever. But I think that, on the other hand, people eventually will need to see him dead. I completely understand why the White House is moving slowly. I would advocate moving slowly, but they need to fill this need that people have to see him dead and to see him dealt with as a Muslim leaving this earth.
Well, Leon Panetta told Brian Williams that ultimately a photograph would be presented to the public, so we will wait and see. Steve Clemons, a senior fellow at the New America Foundation. Thanks for joining us tonight, Steve.
Thanks, Lawrence.